Good morning, folks. VIPs. We're going to try to make sense out of markets this morning. You can see SPY QQQ is up. Lots of mixed signals, though. Jobs report came out much stronger than expected, but unemployment was higher than expected. So a mixed jobs report, and in response to that you get mixed response in financial markets. This is interesting because we see TLT is down while SPY QQQ is up, right? So TLT is what you look at in terms of rates. So with TLT going down, you'd think, well, let's see here. TLT going down, that means lower. No, it goes up. Now I'm getting confused myself. So if bonds go up, rates go down. So that's good for ARK, right? So this means rates going up. So had to refresher there. So TLT is going down, rates should be going up, but UUP is not up. UUP is down. That's unusual. Usually these trade inverse to each other. So right there already, that's unusual. Also, TLT down, usually ARK goes down with it because that means higher rates. So that's unusual. So the bond market and the currency market mixed signals as far as rates, and then you see the stock market booming on this. So I don't trust this move at all. I have no idea what's going to happen with this. I will say we got that analysis from Avi Elliott, wave analysis, saying, hey, like the top is in. We're going much lower, but not before we get possibly a bear market bounce to 420, which basically matches the 50-week moving average. Yep. So that's a 50-week moving average. So maybe we get a bounce to the 50-week moving average, and then that's it. And then we go much lower. So, kind of fundamentally at this point, if I had to make a bet, I think we probably are breaking below that 200-week moving average, and we're in for a long haul. But you know how I feel about that 200-week moving average. I don't have confidence in that until we actually break and stay below it. So very mixed signals. I don't know what to make of the markets today. I really have no idea what's going to happen. We have elections. We have a couple wild cards next week. We have elections on Tuesday. We have CPI later next week. I don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday. So lots of crazy catalysts, which can give us lots of crazy moves, and it's just going to be volatile, and I really don't know what to expect. So with that, we're just going to jump into individual stocks. Air had some news. It's a $4 million plus order, but it's not a new customer. So this is basically, I think, baked in. It may be a catalyst combined with, if stocks continue to go up for the day, it could be a catalyst which can give you a little continuation movement above this 20 DMA. I don't have a strong read on this right now, so this is personally something I'm going to avoid. You can see if it does keep moving up, obviously you have resistance up there in the 22 range, but I don't have a good handle on that, whether it's going to continue today. Again, markets are kind of mixed here. SIGA, I left a long message about this yesterday. I was on the conference call. I do have a strong sense of this one, of what's going to happen. I think this is going to be range bound. So a very strong support at 720. That's the 200-week support, 200-week moving average support. You also have fundamental support there. I also do buybacks there. So it was a strong report. I was disappointed that there were no dividends or buybacks. I was hoping for a big announcement on dividends and buybacks that would cause a short squeeze. So I'm not expecting a gigantic short squeeze, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do move back up and try to, retake this loss. I don't know what the shorts were betting on the last couple of days. I don't think they got what they were necessarily betting on. So that's why I think this thing will be range bound. About $10 to the upside would be the maximum. Maybe look at this candle, 960 maybe. So I would say 960 upside target, and downside target like I said, about 720. So this is going to be a range bound stock. It's not something you got to be like fearful of. Oh, it's going to go to $2, $3. I don't think so. And it's also something that's not going to break out to $10, $15 anytime soon. So that's my takeaway from SIGA earnings, and you can execute however you'd like based on that information. Okay, Square, PayPal, Coin had earnings last night. Now, I don't follow these companies closely. I do know that Square beat on the top and bottom line, but I also know there's strong 50 DMA resistance here. It met that resistance last night and after hours, and it's meeting it again here. Given the macro environment and given what the Fed was saying yesterday or a couple days ago, I don't think we're going to be like breaking out above the 50 DMA. Could be wrong. I haven't looked at the report closely, but just in this macro environment, I think it's going to be very hard to break above the 50 DMA no matter what the report was. So that's my opinion there on Square. Actually, I haven't looked at the PayPal report. I know it disappointed from the headlines. So let's see if we can quickly look at the technicals and make anything out of it. Oh, this is below all the key moving averages on the daily and the weekly. So it's got very, very strong resistance here. The lowest strong resistance point is going to be 84. So it'll be like the best case scenario if it gets some upside, but it was a bad report, right? So, gosh, this is probably around here. 79.50 would be a big resistance. And as far as downside, I think that's going to be dependent on how bad the fundamentals were. And I don't know that because I didn't look closely at the report, but you can see here the 52-week low was 67.58. So that'll give you a kind of range where the 52-week low can be. It could re-challenge a 67.50 on a bad report and bad at macro. And I gave you the upside target there at 79, basically. So you have that range there, possibilities for PayPal. I think I saw a headline the coin missed. Okay. Coinbase shares are trading higher after the company reported Q3 financial issued guidance. Okay. I think they missed, and maybe it was oversold. So maybe this was baked in too much and we're getting a technical rebound from oversold condition. That's at a first glance what it looks like over here. So I don't trade Coinbase at all. I've hardly ever looked at this chart. Honestly, this may be the first time I'm looking at this chart. So I don't know much about it, but you can see the 20, 50, 200 DMA is right over there at 65 plus, and the weeklies don't even show up because that's a relatively new company, not enough data for weekly moving averages over here. And of course, your downside support is going to be retesting. Ooh, 40.83. When did that happen? I don't even see that on the chart. Where is 40.83? Must have been like a capitulation spike down somewhere one of these days. I don't even see it. Oh, over here. So I would disregard that candle, honestly. That candle, in this case, I would disregard it. I would call these the lows here, 46 or so. 46, 44, 45. So call it like 45. That'll be like the downside support to the downside, and the upside there, 65. That's your range. Okay. Now, a couple stocks that have been like interesting to me that I've been watching over the past year. MP is one of them. I don't have a position, but I've always wanted to get in it. And I don't know why I haven't had a chance to get in it. This is a rare earth minerals, and this is important because of the deglobalization effort with the war in China and everything like that. This is U.S. rare earths, and it's always been on my watch list. I always wanted it. Now, they had earnings last night, which 36 cents. Yeah, if you annualize that and slap a 20p on it, it's right here. It's like at $26, $29. So it doesn't seem expensive. But I don't know how companies in this sector are valued PE wise, and what would be a fair PE, what wouldn't, what their growth rate is. I really don't know that information. If someone is really familiar with MP, I would love someone to present MP to our community. So putting that out there, MP, let us know, and we can get you in for a presentation, Zoom session, and we can dig deeper. But definitely an interesting stock for the long term. And you can see up here, it is above the 20 DMA in pre-market in reaction to good earnings. Okay. This is one that kind of in that it's a volatile chart that's range bound. Okay. So this could be an interesting one to trade or to sell options on with a good report. Maybe there's a swing to, it's already, this is very tight. So in between the 20 and the 50, you only have like 30, 80, and then so I really don't know fundamentally. Let's see if we can get a presentation. Is the ZERV going to 37 plus, something like that on this report? I don't know, but it's a good enough report that this thing's not going to crash. I don't expect this to break below the lows. So this is an interesting one to trade in a range bound way or sell puts on, I think. MP, take a look at that. Transmedics, man, I own two interesting biotech companies going into COVID. Was it the COVID crash? No, the interest rate crash. It started like November. When I started selling my risk assets, I sold Transmedics. I only basically held Dario and like INMB or something as far as like companies that don't make money. And I'm like, I sold all my Transmedics. I sold DermTech. Those were two like biotech, medtech companies I was really, really interested in. This one does transplants. And unfortunately, I was right on DermTech. DermTech also reported last night, by the way, and DermTech's been a disaster, missing basically every quarter. Look at that chart. So I was right on selling DermTech. That's the skin cancer detection technology. And here you have Transmedics, which helps with organ transplants. Really fascinating technology. And they've gone opposite directions. Transmedics is like beating and raising every single quarter, but still not profitable. DermTech going the other way. So who knew which one? But I sold both of them. And this is like a feel-good company too. Like I'd love to kind of own this company long term because they're really helping people with the organ transplants, preserving them for much longer with their technology. So, but in any case, they're beating $54. You can't really put a PE on it yet. You have to look at like revenue multiples because they're not profitable yet. But this one's going to $54, and it's hard for me to say, oh, it's going to 60 or 70 because they're not profitable. The ones that are like profitable PE cash flow, you can do a quick calculation, and it's usually pretty on target where the immediate response goes. But in this case, I don't have a good feel for it. I can tell you have resistance at 55, right? So it's that is very strong resistance. Look at that. 56.41. 56.41 is the high of the year. Call it 55. Just rounded to that nearest multiple of 5 there, and you're ready at 53.97. So this will be a tough one, to buy up here. I personally wouldn't, but I'm not close enough to the company to know what happens with it. But very interesting company, beat and raise, and maybe if there's a pullback, it could be interesting to someone there to pick that one up. Transmedics. TGB, I know this was a stock on my order because Matt gave it to us. It's a copper company, and he said it's a good value copper company. And I saw the report this morning. I'm like, damn it, wow, he's right. It's a 2-cent earnings beat, so 1 cent loss. So it's a 3-cent beat right now. If you analyze 2 cents, 8 cents, throw a 10 PE on it, that's 80 cents. Now it's $1.16, so it looks a little bit cheap. And you can look here, read through the report. I read it, and it looked pretty good in terms of them making money. This is not like a fake 2 cents. It's a real 2 cents, and it seems like they're growing. So TGB, very interesting to me here. You have resistance at 120. I think I may have some shares. I have to check my IRA. I think I may have a small position in this. I'm going to go check. But if I don't, I may be interested in taking some of this. I think there's a possibility it could break out of this 120 resistance we just showed here on the 5-day chart. There's 120 resistance here, and could it go challenge 130 to 134 kind of range as the next stop after 120? I think it could. So this is an interesting one. You see that 130 candle bottom of here. So that's a resistance. So a move of 120 to 130, maybe for like a day trade or a swing trade may work, but this is also potentially a good long-term hold, which is why I think I do have a little bit in my IRA. So take a look at TGB and hit up Matt S in our VIP trading room if you have any further questions or commentary on that. So we got a couple more good nuggets coming right up. On RUM, XXII, and look at the ADM chart. So, BTU. So BTU, we talked about that a lot yesterday. Hey, looked like we made a great trade in the morning, jumped in the afternoon. It got kind of worse. But this is a beautiful thing about selling puts. The trade idea I put out there is even if you're wrong by a few dollars, you can end up being right at the end of 30 days. So I think we sold $25 puts for $1.60 average. So that takes you to $23.40. Okay, so as long as it stays over $23.40, profitable here. So look at that. Gives you a lot of room for error when you see a good report and you want to get into a stock. Selling puts really worked out well. So after collaboration with Matt in the community, he validated kind of my thoughts on this. I did listen to the conference call, and based on the press release and the conference call, I think this really has a floor in the stock. It's not really going to break below that 200 DMA. If it does, it'll be in this kind of fashion where it's really just a very temporary thing. This will continue to be something that's reliably range bound, and we'll see. Who knows? Maybe we get an upgrade out of this because, I think they're doing well. They're growing. The problem is they're not giving back dividends, so it's not like something that's going to break out of 28, 29 to compete with an Arch, right? People who like this sector, they're like, all right, I'll put my big money into Arch. They're giving me $10 dividend. They're doing buybacks, right? So in this case, BTU, not enough to really break out of the $28 resistance, going to be range bound. But again, who knows? Because if these call prices maintain themselves for, another few quarters, they'll be debt free and they'll start paying dividends out. And there's a possibility, I think, if I understood correctly, they may start paying dividends after next quarter because they're trying to renegotiate some of the covenants with their debt holders to be able to pay out dividends, is I think what I gleaned from that conversation. So who knows? It may be possible you can get an analyst coming in here and upgrading it and taking you to a slightly higher trading range. But for now, I think the trading range is right over here at the 200 DMA towards 28. So 2250 to 28. Solid company, solid floor on BTU. RUM, I just want to point out, I've been monitoring the app rankings, iOS app rankings, and they are now getting back towards their all-time highs. They're steadily going up like every single day over the past 7 to 10 days. And it's like right near the top 5 now. Incredible app rankings. They have earnings coming up. I don't think it's next week. I think it's the following week. We'll have to look into this. But, oh, by the way, speaking of earnings, all those the microcap stocks, risk assets, biotechs, whatever, they're all going to be reporting in the next 2 weeks. Okay, all of them. So just pay attention for that. So RUM earnings coming up. And I think there's a great chance the financials may disappoint some people. But the forward-looking metrics, now a lot of this growth happened after the end of the quarter, the most recent growth. They're going to have some very bullish numbers on their growth metrics. So again, this could be a situation coming out of earnings where you have extreme volatility and you have the fundamental traders and the shorts waiting for that headline to hit that they're losing so much money or whatever it is, and then a stock will get slammed down, but it'll get picked right back up. There's an opportunity coming up here, guys, RUM. So I don't know exactly how to guide trading it. I just know, that overarching guide I've been giving is still holding true. 5 to 15 range, extremely volatile. You can buy those dips with confidence on. It's hard for me. It went to like 6 and I lost my confidence a little bit, but if you can control your emotions, when this thing dives, it's going to be a great buy. You approach 50 and you sell it. I've been saying this for weeks. I think that story continues. And of course, you have the optionality upside. If Elon Musk does a deal with them or something, then all bets are off and you probably break above $15 and $18. All right. XXII had a good day yesterday, and there was a medical study that came out, which I think may be attributed to the move yesterday. There was some sort of study about VLN cigarettes. Now, they weren't named by company name. It was like some sort of independent study. Now, I don't know how to verify this, but people in stock twits are saying, yeah, they're using the VLN cigarettes. Like, how do you know? Well, we know it has to be. It's VLN cigarettes. Like, it's the only one. So I don't know. But the study was like really good in terms of how it helps people quit smoking. So that was very interesting. And maybe it had something to do with this. But earnings are coming out next week. Okay. November 8th. What are we, 5th? So early next week, Tuesday, I guess. So earnings are coming out next week. I do not expect earnings to be good. That's why there's a lot of catalysts coming out right before and right after the earnings report. They've already, Mish, the CEO, has already told us his playbook. Okay, so expect news right before or with earnings about additional expansion efforts with VLN. And then a couple days or a day after earnings, you're going to see news about cannabis. He's put that playbook out there. And I appreciate him for it. I think that's actually good. He has to play up his strengths. He has to market the stock. He wants the stock to get over $2 so the warrant holders can exercise. He's doing the right thing as far as I see. He's not lying. He's not being unethical. And he's following through on his word. He says, hey, we're going to have a catalyst in a couple weeks, and you get it. So I like that, as opposed to what we're hearing, real frustrations with like stocks like SMS, when they say, hey, a deal's coming and it doesn't happen. This guy has all the deals lined up. He has a PRs lined up and is a PR machine and is going to try his best to pump this stock up. And I say pump it in a good way, not an unethical, illegal way. He's going to do his best to push the stock price up to where he thinks it belongs. And it may, belong over $2. So interesting story with XXII, but don't be surprised if earnings hit and they're not good. And in the immediate reaction, you get a drop of whatever large percentage. That could happen. So be aware of that. ADM, last one I think I'm going to cover here. Oh, well, Cliff we'll talk about in a second. ADM, Archer Daniels here. I love it. I just love this stock. I love it. It's just so safe. It's such a good PE, great sector. It's like the lowest PE in the big cap agriculture sector, and it had like the biggest blowout, and it has such a beautiful chart. I'm still convinced this thing is going to break out of this cup formation. Does it get a little handle first? Who knows? It may get a handle, it might not get a handle. And then you're going to break above that 98. Where's the high? 98.88 at some point. Who knows? Maybe today. And then I think the next target is 105 after you break out. The RSI relatively low on the weekly. This thing is set up really, really nicely. Now, why don't I have a big position? Because I'm stupid. I gotta change. I have like I give you guys great advice, I think, but I put all my money in like Dario and other risk assets. But I have a small position in ADM. We'll see. Maybe I'll change that up. Okay, really like that company and that stock and that setup. Clearfield, we have earnings next week. I know COMM was really disappointing the other day, but we did get some commentary from our experts in this sector in the room saying that the domestic business from COMM is a really, really good read-through for Clearfield. Perhaps a little bit of a cheat code here that Clearfield can beat and then break out of this cup and handle that's forming right now. Okay, so that's something that's going to be interesting. And you have support at the 20 DMA. Could this bounce off the 108 and then be a springboard to break above that recent high and take you to a whole new trading level? Possibly. So Clearfield looks really, really good right now as well, both in terms of technicals and catalysts and fundamentals. The whole story trading process is all good. So let me just see if there's any other news over here in our newsfeed in the last 20 minutes. Let's scroll back to 9 a.m. or so. And if you're not a Story Trading VIP, by the way, you can go to storytrading.com and sign up for a 7-day free trial. Now, let's take a look this morning to see if there's anything we missed. And I don't really see anything. Peloton lowered $5. I give it a 0 target. And that will be it, folks. All right. I will continue collaborating in the room, and we'll see you at roughly 4 p.m. On Fridays. It's going to be hard as the winter goes on for me to do the 4 p.m. shows exactly at 4 p.m. So I might do them at like 3:30 or something like that, our post-market wrap. So let's chat in the rooms today, and I'll see you later this afternoon. And look at RUM. RUM is looking great. Have a great day, folks.